Hello, and welcome to Terrier News. I'm Catherine Barron.
And I'm Samantha Gambino. This week we'll be getting into Mr. and Mrs. SFC, but first let's get into the political news.
This past Tuesday night, 5 states were up for grabs in the presidential race. A total of 367 delegates were at stake for the Republicans, and 691 delegates were possible for the Democrats. And even though Donald Trump received major backlash for the violence at his rallies, he won big in Florida, shoving Marco Rubio out of the race. Trump also took Illinois and North Carolina, although it was a tight race in Missouri, where Trump only edged out Ted Cruz by the slimmest 0.2%. But the biggest win went to Ohio Governor John Kasich, who beat Donald Trump in Ohio, his home state, by 8%. Meanwhile, it was also a big night for Hillary Clinton. She beat out Bernie Sanders in North Carolina, Illinois, Florida, and Ohio. But again, it was a tight race in Missouri, where Clinton only beat Sanders by 0.2% in the virtual tie. This means Sanders has no wiggle room. He can't lose another state. In other political news, President Obama officially nominated Merrick Garland, judge of the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia, for the 9th Supreme Court justice spot. Garland has been appointed for this position before, but the fight between the Democrats and the Senate have not eased, and it'll be a battle in the next 2 weeks. This should be very interesting.
This past weekend near Turkey's capital, Ankara, 2 suicide bombers killed 37 people and injured roughly 150 civilians with a massive car bomb. A woman set off the first bomb and was identified as a member of the PKK, a Kurdish separatist group, since 2013, while a male set off the second bomb, but has not yet been identified. In addition, another 11 people have already been detained in connection to the attack. The Turkish government shut down all social media during and immediately after the attack because of the destruction. This was the 5th major bombing in Turkey in the past 9 months, and almost 200 people have been killed by these bombings. ISIL took responsibility for the first few bombings, but this past weekend's attacks point towards the PKK group. Curfews have now been imposed on the 2 mainly Kurdish towns in the southeastern borders of Turkey. Turkey has launched airstrikes against the Kurdish rebels in northern Iraq in retaliation.
It's that time of year again here at St. Francis when students must plan for their next semester. It's the second week into the scheduling process here at SFC, and students are reminded to meet with their respective advisors to discuss taking new classes for next semester. The official advisement period began on March 7th, but if you haven't done so yet, set up an appointment with your advisor as soon as possible with your program evaluation with a list of potential classes for the 2016 semester. Registration begins in early April, and none of us like when our classes have already been closed, so hurry up and don't let it happen to you.
Last Thursday and then again this past Monday, SFC held pageant auditions for anyone wanting to be the next Mr. and Mrs. St. Francis during the activity period. The auditions were met with a surprisingly large turnout, with many potential students vying for the opportunity to be the next Mr. and Mrs. St. Francis. The winners have not yet been decided, but Terrier TV would like to thank everyone who attended the auditions and wish you the best of luck in getting the roles.
Now let's get to entertainment news from Corey Adams and Alexa Castelluccio.
Thank you, Catherine. This week's latest buzz is all about pop singer Ariana Grande's hilarious and on-point performance she brought as both the host and musical act Saturday night on SNL. The singer received kudos for her impeccable skills as a celebrity impersonator. Grande proved to be an asset to the episode, nailing every skit she was included in and delivering 2 powerful musical performances. With such positive feedback for the pop princess, we congratulate you. Bravo, Miss Grande. Did you check out her Shakira impersonation?
Yeah, it is so dead on.
Right? Mm-hmm. Like, I literally thought I was listening to Shakira.
Right, I was like,
I don't know how she does it.
She could have played the whole barrage of impersonators that
great.
she did.
I love her.
Mm-hmm. And also over the weekend, Adele reminded us why she's the queen of everything. Last week on Tuesday, the Hello singer made an autistic schoolgirl's dreams come true. After the star spotted a banner reading, "It is my dream to sing with Adele," she invited 12-year-old Emily Tamam up on stage at the Manchester Arena in England to join her in singing "Someone Like You." Emily has autism, ADHD, and also suffers from Ehlers-Danlos syndrome type 3, which causes her limbs to be weak. Emily wowed the crowd as well as Adele and left them in awe and cheering when the 12-year-old hit all the high notes perfectly during the duet with her idol. This is why we love you, Adele. You are not the one to let dreams go unrealized. She is such an inspiration.
I wish I got picked to go.
I know,
right?
I would just hit those high notes
let's go,
too.
Adele.
Okay.
Well, that's all for this week's Buzz. Back to you guys.
Thanks, you two. Now to Matt Conklin with sports.
Hey guys, the school sports scene is a little quiet right now, but but the men's and ladies tennis teams are hoping to bounce back after losses to Navy and Delaware, respectively. So let's talk about the Mets. Just weeks before opening day, the Mets have parted ways with Ruben Tejada. The team released their utility man, who had been a Met since 2010. Tejada got a lot of love from Met fans this past October when he suffered a broken leg during a playoff game against the Los Angeles Dodgers. But despite his tenure and the sympathy, Tejada put up pedestrian numbers year after year, which ultimately led to the decision. Also given the fact that the Mets have the likes of Asdrubal Cabrera and Wilmer Flores to man the shortstop position. And no surprise here, but Matt Harvey has been named the Mets opening day starter. The Mets will take on the Marlins in their next spring training exhibition on the 17th, while the Yankees will visit the Pittsburgh Pirates. All right, that's it for sports. Back to you.
Thanks, Matt. That's all for this week on Terrier News. Have a happy St. Patrick's Day, and I'm Catherine Barron.
And I'm Samantha Gambino. See you next time.